Really? I never imagined in my entire life I'd get snowed in by stock footage. Oh, hello there. I hope you aren't as badly affected by the season's turn as much as I am. I just wanted to get away for the holidays, and now I'm speaking to you in front of one of those 8-hour sleeping aids videos. Speaking of which, as winter approaches, it's now the perfect time to self-reflect. You think about everything you experienced over the past year, what you learnt, what you accomplished, and the next thing you know, we've hit November and the holiday season has snuck up on you once again. That's right, it's the most happiest time of the year, Christmas. I've always looked forward to it as a kid for the lights, the decorations, the snacks, and more importantly, the toys. I still have fond memories of unwrapping this giant present to find myself a proud owner of the Power Rangers Megazord. I'm now an adult and not much has changed there. If anything, as I got older, I grew more appreciative of the season, embracing its cozy atmosphere while being surrounded by friends and family. I would think back on the years my parents and I would fly over to the Philippines to visit family. On Christmas Eve, around midnight, we gather ourselves and head off to the church for a sermon. The clock ticks over and the next thing I know we're celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. My aunt would turn me towards the beautifully lit Christmas tree in the middle of the town square, point at the star and ask me, "What would you like to wish for this Christmas?" I didn't understand the sentiment behind such a comment, so I shrugged and jokingly replied, "For Santa to fall from the sky and land on top of my friend." I was, a dumb kid, as I couldn't get it at first. I was pretty much enjoying the vibe and wondering when we'd get home to unwrap our presents. But I always found it interesting how different it was compared to how we celebrated back home. I didn't realise till much later that I was taking part in my family's Christmas tradition. I'm sure every one of us has experienced traditions, either it's be coming from family or friends. You probably have a couple of your own. Watching your favourite Christmas movies, listening to stories from Grandad by the fireplace, decorating the tree with your loved ones, and many, many more. Personally, I'm someone who plays Christmassy games such as Jazz Jackrabbit or one of the Yakuza games. But the one defining tradition that everyone has experienced is the TV special. Every year, families would surround the TV set and watch whatever there is to offer. Variety shows, concerts, TV movies, and the Christmas episodes of our favourite TV shows. In England, it was the yearly tradition to watch the Doctor Who Christmas special, until the BBC said otherwise, but that's a different story. Japan had a few of their own, and the US had, that. Personally, I had a few of my own favourite specials, and eventually it became tradition to share them with my friends during the holidays. And while I'm trapped here during the season of giving, I might as well pass the time and share these with you. So come join me as I delve into the traditional Christmas holiday specials. Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, and welcome to Doc Discovers, where I take you on a trip through all the many discoveries I've encountered throughout my time here. Personal favourites I wanted to share, all tied together to a central theme. You probably already guessed what today's episode is all about. Unlike my long-form videos, this is just observations and light commentary, so while it won't be as in-depth, I'll still try my best to be as informative. All sources used to make this video will be linked down below. If you like what you see here, be sure to like, comment, subscribe and ring that Christmas bell. I'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, get cozy, make some hot cocoa, and enjoy the show. Cheers. Gaki No Tsukai is a Japanese variety show hosted by comedians Hitoshi Matsumoto, Masatoshi Hamada, Hosei Tsukite, Naoki Tanaka, and Shozo Endo, as they take part in a wide range of tasks at the cost of their own dignity. It debuted on October 3rd, 1989, and still airing to this day with over 1,000 episodes, always doing their best to entertain us with something out of the ordinary. In one episode they could be having a food marathon, while in another they'd be trying to build the strongest space robot. Keyword here is trying. There's a couple of reoccurring series, of course. One of my personal favourites is Absolutely Tasty, where they take a famous recipe and add their own twist to it. To, very questionable results. I also really like their tabletop series where they try out games from around the world. Really comfy stuff, and there's a lot of games featured that looks really fun. But they're probably most famous worldwide for their punishment games, like the famous Silent Library, where competitors would sit in a library setting and play a form of Russian roulette. They are each given a card. If one of them draws the skull and crossbones, that means they have to endure a crazy punishment. Or the Kiki series, where each episode they have to blind taste food and guess which brand it belongs to. If they fail to guess correctly, then... But if they pass, they become a viral clip on the internet. So, why on earth would I want to watch this with friends during the holiday season? For the longest time they would broadcast a New Year special called the No Laughing Punishment, where the crew has to spend 24 hours as an occupation doing their best not to laugh at whatever devious trap the production team can throw at them. If they were to laugh, they would be hit with a very, very painful punishment. While, yes, it was something to signify the brand's new year, it was still close enough to the holidays, so my friend and I considered it a good enough excuse to pop in a random special and laugh at their bizarre circumstances. Despite each special becoming quite formulaic, they often find a way to spice things up. They'd use whatever visual gags, pranks and comedy sketches at their disposal to crack our plucky bands of heroes. Let's take this bit from the 24-hour hospital special. The team is directed to look at a sign that's obviously facing the wrong way, so Endo is tasked to flip over the sign. The first impression is that the sign is obviously hiding a visual gag that's meant to make them laugh the moment Endo turns it around. But instead... And if that wasn't enough, they use this gag again much later, but to someone completely unrelated. It's great. There's a lot of running gags, too many to count in fact. One of the favourites being Tanaka having to suffer through a Thai kick every single year. They get really creative with it as well. For example, there's a segment where they were forced to watch a cheesy J-drama about an air hostess, only for it to end with... 田中だけアウトです。しかも田中タイキックなんです。Or here's a segment where he listens to his son read out a very emotional letter, which made Tanaka tear up. Of course the kicker is... Thai kick. It's really no wonder Tanaka had a mental breakdown after all this time. I really enjoy the weird amount of world building for a TV special that's meant to cause nothing but endless pain for its participants. Some of them leading to a lot of amazing jokes. For example, in 24 Hour Detective, there's a bizarre head sculpt of Hamada's head, which is funny enough on its own, until it's used much later as a vehicle for another joke. The show was so big that they had an array of guests, from fellow comedians, ex-wives, idols, and that's Fujioka Hiroshi. That's Takeshi Hongo, the first Kamen Rider. And they're making him watch this. This show's amazing. But where it shines the most is when they leave our comedic companions to their own devices. Their chemistry is their strength and their biggest weakness. It's a lot of fun seeing them try to catch each other out, either through ridiculous props or just talking to each other. I appreciate the work that goes into these specials. There's so many ways it can go wrong, and yet the production team pulls it off without much effort. As of now, the 24 New Year's special appears to be up in limbo, with both last year and this year being a no-show. There's a lot of speculation to what's going on, a lot of behind-the-scenes drama, directors leaving, Matsumoto being unsatisfied with the studio, and overall everyone feeling the burnout. And that's a shame. We might possibly be seeing the end of the New Year special, not with a bang, but with a quiet whimper. But whatever the fate of it may be, it's still impressive it's lasted this long. We still have hours of content to enjoy, and I still applaud everyone involved. Every year now I pick a special to show to my friends, and we'd have a blast. I'll share a couple of personal favourites of mine. There's the Detective Agency, the journalism one where somehow they got an advanced preview of the next Star Wars movie, and the Tokusatsu fan in me gravitates to the EDF episode. And while it's not part of the No Laughing series, I also really enjoyed the 24-hour haunted hotel where my favourite comedian, Matsumoto, has to suffer through a ton of spooky pranks and events. It's probably left quite a profound effect on him because, oh my god! If you can spare a few hours and you're in the mood for a laugh, I highly recommend it. There's a dedicated community out there trying their best to translate every little bit of content they can get their hands on, and hey, more power to you. You're all doing a great service. Nothing gets the holiday cheer going than a bit of laughter from Japan.
A very happy Christmas morning to you. Welcome to my seasonal mix of shocks and surprises, laughter and tears.
In England, we would enjoy quite a few TV specials that has become ingrained in our culture. The most famous example being Doctor Who with its many Christmassy episodes. But before that, we had a lot of our own variety shows where TV personalities would toss their hat into the ring and entertain us for a few hours. One of them being Noel Edmonds. A bit of a controversial figure, most of all for his crimes against humanity of unleashing this monstrosity onto the world. A lot of you nowadays probably know him as the bloke who hosted Deal or No Deal. But back then he was the king of light entertainment with shows such as Noel's House Party. A fun and often crazy family show that featured games, guests, thrills, slime, and yes, that thing. It was the #1 source of family entertainment on a Saturday afternoon. For me though, I would remember his Christmas special, Noel's Christmas Presents, a wholesome special where he tries to answer the Christmas wishes of the British public. This can range from bringing an entire carol chorus to a friend, or making the wishes of a special needs girl come true and turn her into a princess. What's so endearing about this is that the wishes were sent in from people who wanted to give their loved ones an amazing present, and it would often be someone who's done a lot of charitable things for the community. It could be a family member, a friend, or even your next door neighbour. You know, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure I also wrote in. But because it's me, I probably wrote the same thing I wished for in the Philippines, believing it was so silly that they wouldn't really go for it. The stories told in these specials can be downright touching.
June, why did you want this as a Christmas gift?
Well, I was in hospital, waiting for Mother to die. I think I'd given in, and all of a sudden somebody touched my arm. And for want of a better expression, I said, "Go away." I think I said it, I might have thought it, but... And this person kept on. "I'm Les, I'm your mum's friend." How long it took her, I don't know. And she brought me back, literally. I mean, it sounds corny, but I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Les. And I'm pleased I've got one on her.
So you are a real fairy godmother. Happy Christmas to you both.
Thank you.
Some of the ways these wishes come true are straightforward and downright sweet. Like how this one kid wrote in because he wanted to give his neighbour a lovely Christmas tree. And then he gets rewarded a cool go-kart in return, so both parties got something nice. That's some good karma. But most of the time, the methods of achieving these wishes would have that Noel Edmonds twist. He was always the master of surprise.
His director directing him.
Action.
In one instance, there was a member of the Air Force who always wanted a new car. So Noel pulled a prank where he accidentally smashed into his old car. Of course, the old soldier already saw through the ruse and expected them to bring out his old car, only to be surprised for real when he sees the brand new one roll out of that plane. Here's a young girl who battled cancer and was told she was going on a trip to Paris, but then...
Southern California's
So, prior to landing at Los Angeles Airport at 15:30 local time. Once in Los Angeles, anyone still keen to go to Paris can make their own arrangements, because if you've got any sense, you'll be off immediately to visit Whoopi Goldberg on the set of her latest movie.
Morning. How are you? Sorry, we can't take you to Paris, because otherwise we'll upset Whoopi Goldberg.
I will always laugh at this instance where he convinced this couple that he was going to help them get a new hammock, even going as far to fly them out to a tropical island, then revealed the whole thing was a ruse to give them an actual wedding ceremony. They probably suspected something along the way, but I do want to know what was going through their heads at the time. The best part of all of these surprises is the reaction from people whenever they realise they're talking to Noel Edmonds.
Good morning. Robert, do you know who I am?
No.
No idea at all.
Oh, no.
Here's a kid who's a massive Star Wars fan, back in the innocent times, before the prequels and way before the mouse.
Incredible. I like the whole idea of good against evil, and then good prevailing. And it's not just a lovey-dovey story, it's a whole new idea, and it's the ships and the characters, it all makes it just 3 brilliant films.
Wow. Modern Hollywood can learn a thing or two from this. He really comes off as a good kid. I wonder what his story is.
Sharon, every single mum thinks their son is the best in the world. Yeah. Why is Jonathan so exceptional?
He was 5 when his dad died, and then 10 months after his dad died, his sister got leukemia, and she was 4, he was 6. And he's just been taking care of her. He looked after her when she cried. He was there. He's been there for me when I've cried. He was just there. He'd spend weeks in hospital with Lindsay because she'd want him there. And then we was told she was terminal. He just sobbed.
You know what? Jonathan deserves all the praise in the world. I'm not sure Noel has anything up his sleeve worthy enough to give that. That's George Lucas. That's actually him. Wow, this was broadcasted around 1997, so George was working on The Phantom Menace. That's so cool that he'd give up his time to talk to him. In fact, there's a lot of surprise guests that would pop up. Whoopi Goldberg, Rupert Grint, Anton Deck, Triple H, and that famous mascot from gaming in the Clinton years. It's really amazing what Noel has managed to pull off. It demonstrates the best of us and what we could be. People who, despite their own circumstances, would still go out of their way to help others. Originally, the specials aired on the BBC between 1989 and 1999, but after a falling out with the studio, he moved the show to Sky One, and continued his good work from 2007 to 2012. And fortunately, there's a channel that's been archiving these specials, and God bless them for doing so. Not just for the footage I use for this video, but for allowing me to share this with friends. It's no lie that Noel has had a troubled life. There's only so much I can cover within this short time. Not only did he have to put up with prostate cancer, but he was also the victim of a bank scam that has led Noel into a very, very dark place. But since all that, he's moved to New Zealand and it looks like he's a lot happier for it. Even now, he's been trying to give back to the community by giving them the ability to host public radio. I'm unsure how it's doing, but honestly, I hope he's living a more peaceful life. I think he should be content with the fact that he's managed to make so many people happy during his heyday. And despite all his troubles, I think he should be applauded for all his efforts.
When we started, everybody in the TV industry used to talk about ratings. We were getting 15, 16 million. We still get 7. Don't believe all of the excreta in the tabloids. There is a hell of a lot of people out there who've enjoyed House Party. In recent years, as more and more stations come in, then people start talking about market share. Actually, there's one figure, one statistic that I've always used, and that's loyalty. We know just how much it meant to people because of the calls we had, because of the reactions we had. The moment we did anything, immediately people reacted. I know from simple things of just going out with my family the impact House Party has had on people. So it is the end of an era. I believe very firmly in family entertainment, and I'd like to be back doing a bit more of it. I believe one very, very important thing that I have in my life, and for some strange reason it's followed me ever since The Breakfast Show right through Swap Shop and the other shows, Telly Addicts and whatever, and that is for some strange reason I have this relationship with a very large percentage of the British public that seem to like to see me enjoying myself. It's a relationship that I just treasure so much, and it's a relationship I will never take for granted. Thank you all very much.
I want to bookend this video with a segment of Noel's Christmas presents that I found very profound. It follows two pen pals who got to meet each other for the first time. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Well, these two are not only from different countries, but countries that were pitted against each other during the Cold War. A friend from England and a friend from Russia. It was during 1991, right as the Cold War was ending. The Iron Curtain has come down and we get to see these two friends from both sides of the conflict finally come together. And I always felt that this is what the Christmas spirit is all about. In an age of social media, I feel like we've lost a part of our humanity. We're too busy being at each other's throats over something as simple as a harmless joke. We've forgotten how to forgive and show generosity to each other. But whenever I watch Noel's Christmas presents, it always gives me a sense of hope and joy. The idea that we can come together and celebrate despite our differences. Where we can reward each other for our good deeds. Where a boy can just give his neighbour a Christmas tree because he just wanted to cheer her up. It's a perfect reminder that there's still some good in us, and I wanted to share this particularly for that reason. I'm normally an optimist, but even I can recognise how tough things are right now. If there's one good thing I could do this Christmas, it's to spread some cheer and show everyone the spirit of goodwill. If you're interested in some cozy content to watch over the holiday season, then check these shows out if you can. Meanwhile, I'll be spending my weekend sharing these specials with friends as per tradition. But enough of my rambling. What about you guys? I'm sure you all have a few of your own traditions, and maybe you have a few favourite TV specials too. Whatever they are, I hope you're all celebrating them with friends and family this year, because I think that's what matters the most at the end of the day. That said, thank you guys for sparing the time to hear what I have to say. I really appreciate it, and I really hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and take it... Oh. Excuse me.
Good evening, sir.
Noel Edmonds? Wow, I was just talking about you. What are you doing here? Are you here to save me?
When you wrote to me, did you have any idea that I would read your letter and turn up?
No, not really. That was years ago. What does that have to do with any...
But this is just the start of what I hope will be a very special day for you.
What? Why?
And it'll teach you one important lesson in life. Be very careful about the letters you write.
Huh? What did I write? No? What did I write in? What did I wish for? Oh God. What did I wish for?